Start. Okay, let's start. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Today, I would like to welcome all of you here in joining this live session on postnatal nutrition. Today, we will be discussing about nutrition related to mother and the child post-delivery. And yes, I would like to introduce you to myself first. I am Priyanka Sharma. I am an executive nutritionist at Noida. And from my team, I have two members who are going to answer your questions or queries that will be asked during the session. Ms. Gurpreet Kaur, who's a clinical nutritionist from Chandigarh, and Ms. Dimpi, executive nutritionist at the East Delhi unit. So before we start with the session, there are a few things that I would like you guys to take care of during the session so that you can understand the concept and the topic of the session today properly. Firstly, it is that use a laptop with a good internet connection. Use headphones or earphones for better clarity while listening to the about the session. You should post questions in the comment box, and those will be answered by the answerer at the end of the session. Kindly pay attention to the slides, and you can ask questions in the end also. And at Cloud9, we maintain all the necessary protocols to keep our hospital infection-free and safe. So beginning with the topic, that's the postnatal nutrition. I would like you guys to know the very first thing when a lady gets to know about her pregnancy. And from that particular day, this nutrition plays a very important role in the life of a mother and of course her baby. So these first 1,000 days from conception to 2 years of age are very, very crucial that needs to be taken care of for the mother and the child's nutrition during this particular phase. So if you can see the diagram, it says from -1 to 0 months, that is the pregnancy period. And of course, after the delivery till 6 months, the baby has to be exclusively breastfed to get proper nutrition, and the baby has because the breast milk is going to give good antibodies for the baby to fight with certain diseases in future. Then, of course, after 6 months, we need to start with the complementary feeding. That is the solid food introduction, which we will also be discussing today. Then it is the 12 months. That is when a baby is a 1 year old and above. So we should ideally be, transition to the diet should be to the normal diet. Whatever a normal adult person is eating, 1 year old to 2 year old kid should also start adapting such proper diet. If we take this in a more, if you understand this more thing, that is the first golden 1,000 days. So in this particular phase, the pregnancy, that is going to be a 270 days. Then from the first and the second year, that is 365 days. Each of it all counts about 1,000 days. And during this all phase, all days, proper nutrition has to be given because the development of the baby is happening. Also, the mother is also going into a certain change in her life. There is a rapid growth, in the baby's health, in the, of course, the mother health also. So a proper nutrition has to be provided. Stress-free environment needs to be taken care so that the baby and the mother both are living stress-free and they are, able to have a better life. And a responsive care needs to be taken care so that our children can be helped in a full development potential. Okay, after this, when this was about all the pregnancy phase that we discussed, now we are about here the exclusive breastfeeding, which needs to be done when a baby has been turned almost after 6 months. Oh, sorry, after the delivery. After delivery till 6 months, the baby has to be exclusively breastfed. There are certain myths in which the baby has been given honey or some gripe water or some chini ka ghol types. So such things should not be given to the baby, especially post delivery and during the 6 months of the period of the baby, because that can cause the baby certain problems like diarrhea, and it is going to be very heavy for the digestion as well. So you should be giving only the breast milk only to the baby. No other food or drink has to be given. That particular time of this phase of this exclusively breastfeeding is from the right moment the baby gets delivered till the 6 months of the 6 months of his age. Then what is this in the breast, when we are actually exclusively breastfeeding, especially for the new mothers, there are certain transition in the milk, in the consistency, in the color. So there are a lot of things that has been noticed during the after the delivery and during the actually breastfeeding phase. So after delivery, the first thing that gets secreted from the breast is a colostrum, which is a thick and a yellowish fluid that gets secreted, which is actually very, very nutritious, which has a lot of antibodies, which is going to help baby nourish properly. Proper nutrients are going to pass through the milk to the baby. Generally, people throw that milk thinking that it is not nutritious or it is a bad milk kind of a thing, but actually that is a very important thing. And there is another thing, that is a golden hour, which is an hour after the delivery. In that particular golden hour, if a baby has been breastfed, proper nutrition, and actually that's a actually golden thing that you're giving to that baby. That's very, very nutritious. That's very high in proteins. That's very high in antibodies. So that's very nourishing for the baby. This is actually secreted from post-delivery till 2 days. The colostrum is secreted from a breast milk. After that, a transition milk is started secreting. That is little translucent and watery. That gets secreted for about like 10 days. It is slightly less in proteins, but no doubt that is very, very good again for the baby, because that also has same nutrition and everything that a baby wants. Coming then after 10 days, a proper mature milk, that is a normal white secretion cream milk, which gets secreted for the baby, which has to be given to the baby completely exclusively till 6 months. And after 6 months, we will be introducing other food items along with the breast milk. If we see the composition of the breast milk from, of course, colostrum, transition milk, and mature milk. So there we have segregated the nutritional values of it, that is the protein, fats, carbohydrate, and the calorie. Particular milk is sufficient enough for the baby to that proper nutrition that a baby require, that has breast milk has everything that that a baby requires. Then we have everything you eat reaches your little one through your milk. So that's very, very true. Whatever a mother eats, not just during the during the breastfeeding phase, but also during pregnancy also sometimes. Whatever a mother is having, that generally passes through the milk. We have a component. We have talked about what all proteins it has. It has other nutrients as well, like water, protein, carbohydrates, lactose. It has various fats, antibodies, of course, which is going to help the baby fight certain diseases as well. Which is going to make its immune system also strong. It has almost 800 strains of bacteria, vitamin, minerals, human milk oligosaccharides. It has hormones also. So this is a full packed thing that a baby is getting in a form of a breast milk, which apart from this, a baby doesn't require anything else. So you should be very cautious enough while whatever you are eating, so that the baby, because the baby is totally dependent upon you, so you need to be very cautious, very healthy, very fresh, and a very quality kind of a food has to be eaten, so that your breast milk has a good quality and the quantity, of course, and such things, such components are available in your milk, and that can be passed through your breast to the baby. Okay, so these are the benefits of breastfeeding. Benefits of breastfeeding. So there are certain benefits post delivery. Certain mothers tell that they want to reduce weight, and just right after the delivery, they expect that now they have their another aim that they want to reduce weight. So which is generally not advised. You need to be because you have now delivered a baby, and that baby is completely dependent upon you. So you need to be little given attention towards that as well. That breastfeeding is going to help you reduce your weight as well, but you cannot starve yourself in in targeting yourself with a weight loss, because that will be little difficult for you. The milk will not get secreted properly, it will not be nutritious, that will not be sufficient for the baby, of course. So the proper diet is very, very important. And apart from the weight loss, of course, so there are certain more factors that needs to be, that actually are benefiting a mother during breastfeeding. So it reduces the post-delivery bleeding and anemia. Certain women face anemia, low hemoglobin levels during pregnancy, and such things. So when you are actually breastfeeding the baby, so you are having a proper nutrition, which you have proper, this thing, your salads and everything. So of course, those things are going to help you in reducing the post-delivery bleedings. Natural contraception. So few people want to conceive, right? This can happen naturally also sometimes, that they conceive after breastfeeding. So it is not a reliable though. During pregnancy you can, this is not a natural contraception. There's a myth kind of a thing basically, that during your breastfeeding phase that you cannot expect or something. But yes, it is not clinically proven, or we don't have any research or study during this thing. So breastfeeding is not a natural contraception. Sometimes this can be non-reliable also. Then there is also a few things which says that during cancer or any certain problem, we should not be breastfeeding the baby or something. Firstly, you should always talk to the doctor once, and not just take the decision on your own. Secondly, uh, the baby is very small, the baby is completely dependent on you. The breastfeeding has to be always promoted. Due to any of the disease or any of the this thing, breastfeeding should not be restricted until and unless under supervision, or somebody advises you not to breastfeed the baby, especially an expert or the doctor under which you're taking the guidance. So you should never ever stop breastfeeding until it has been told to you by a professional. It is a protective effect against breast, ovarian cancer, osteoporosis. So there is nothing happening during breastfeeding to the baby if anybody of the woman or anybody have a problem, such problems. Then, as I told you at the beginning of this, that it helps you to shed the pregnancy pounds, which taken up for a longer time. Of course, during 9 months, actually after the second trimester, your weight started gaining. And of course, there is an increase in the diet as well, because there is certain changes that is happening in your body. So you need to be taken care about that. And for this, during breastfeeding, that particular extra weight that we have gained, that is going to shed automatically with time to time. This is not a 1 or 2 day thing. This will take a very gradual process. It's a very slow process with which you need very patient. You need to be with your baby, and you need to make sure that you are doing breastfeeding exclusively, which will help you reduce that pound indirectly as well. Then, of course, emotional bond between mother and the baby. Right after delivery, the baby has been given to the mother, so that the warmth, that emotional bond can be created. The baby can identify the mother. I mean, the baby already knows the mother. And so that emotional bonding has to be there during breastfeeding. So whenever you breastfeed that baby, that emotional bond gets stronger every time. And it's a wonderful feeling for the mothers who are breastfeeding their baby. Evolution of uterus to pre-pregnancy size shape. Certain women face problem in which their lower abdomen is very huge after delivery, and they are expecting to reduce weight. They have shed their weights, but the size of their lower abdomen or something is little very difficult for them to reduce. So breastfeeding is another one technique through which you can not just reduce other sort of weights in your body, but also your normal, the lower abdomen weight that can be reduced, and it can come back to the the pre-pregnancy size. Benefits in of the breastfeeding also decreases the risk of the postpartum depression, postpartum hemorrhage. Certain women feel that because obviously when you have a baby, there are a lot of responsibilities that you come across. You have to be waken up in the night to feed your baby. So there are a lot of things. Of course, your sleep pattern is disturbed. You sometimes feel constipated. You also, little lethargic at that particular time, because all of a sudden you get a responsibility. Though you're prepared for it, but see, the reality is sometimes a little difficult for the mother. So at that particular time, you get into this depression thing that you're not able to do, or with a very monotonous life and nothing to do and something like that. So breastfeeding helps you get rid of those depression things, those thoughts. It will help you gain that emotional bond between the mother and the baby. You will be able to take that responsibility and happily doing it, and you will be able to see its benefits as well. Of course, it enhances skin to skin contact with the baby. Initially, baby is, the vision of the baby is little blur. So the baby can feel things, the baby can feel at that time. So mother is the only source through which the baby can feel, can understand, okay, this is the place where I'm safe. This is the place where I know this is my mother. So a skin to skin contact with the baby is again very important. That emotional bond, it is another benefit of your breastfeeding. Then we have a nutritional needs required during lactation. So these are the basic nutrition, basic nutrients basically, which are required, which needs to be emphasized during lactation phase. That is the phase when you are breastfeeding your baby. First, of course, water. You need to keep yourself hydrated. You need to keep yourself a lot of hydrated. Approx 3 to 4 liters of water needs to be taken on daily basis. Because of course you're going to breastfeed the baby. So at the right moment, you're going to feel hungry also. You'll feel thirsty also. Your breast milk is going to have a good, the good quality as well. So water is very, very important. You should always monitor your water intake. And some people say that water intake gets reduced during the seasons, or when you're sitting in an air condition. So that should not be promoted. Of course, your water intake plays an important role in all sort of weathers, or whether you're sitting inside or outside. It has to be monitored and taken very seriously. And yes, it is another very nutritional thing that you need to take care. Another is a vitamin C. Vitamin C is very, very important. It is another this thing, because see, iron is required during the lactation phase, and iron only gets absorbed during vitamin C, in the presence of vitamin C. So what if we are not taking vitamin C and taking iron in our food, but we still our hemoglobin level or something, our iron level is on the lower side. So there's sometimes reason behind, because we are not taking adequate amount of vitamin C in our body. All citrus fruits needs to be included. It is again a myth that a citrus things needs to be avoided during lactation. Your oranges, lemons needs to be avoided during lactation. No. Until and unless there is something which causes you internal problem, or you feel something uneasy with it, that particular thing needs to not to be avoided during lactation. And vitamin C products needs to be taken during lactation phase, as this will help you in your iron absorption. Then we have folate. Folate is also very important nutrition during lactation. Proteins will help you, see, because you are feeding the baby, you will feel hungry also sometimes. So protein is very important in your lactation phase. Firstly, of course, because it will help you enhancing the milk. Other thing is that because you're going to feel hungry every time, so maximum time we're going to choose some junk option, which is of course not a healthier thing. So protein snack will keep us satisfied, that particular snacking option, whichever it is, your mid morning or maybe in the evening or maybe in the late night time, because you have to wake up this to feed your baby. So protein snack is very, very important. And protein also is a very crucial nutrient that needs to be taken care of. Then we come up with the fats. There's this thing during when a mother delivers baby through any of the mode of this thing delivery, can be a cesarean, can be your this thing normal delivery. Sometimes fats is a very this thing that people say that fat should be avoided completely. and should not be taken. So that is somewhere correct, but there are certain good fats that need to be included. Not things that gives you extra calories, fried foods, or a lot of butter and all such things are promoted to give at that particular phase. Good fats like your omega-3 fatty acids, which your walnuts have, which your salmon have, so needs to be taken care so that you have good fat, because at the end, because we need lubrication in our body, we need fats in our body in some amount so that the body can function properly. Then we have calcium. Milk we are secreting for the baby, because of which, of course, calcium is definitely required. Uh, uh, Calcium sources can be your milk, can be your milk products. Of course, some people also say that curd and paneer, curd should not be given, but that's again a myth. Curd paneer should be given to the mother who is lactating, because that's a good source of protein and calcium both. We have ragi as a source as well, so that can be included. We have sesame seeds as a source that can be included for our calcium requirement. Iron, of course, it is very important, because again, the nutrients that we're discussing, these are all nutrients that we need to be focusing more during the lactation. I will be discussing about each nutrients, the value and everything related, and we'll be comparing them, of course, with the pre-pregnancy and the lactation separately. Iron is also very important because it's bind with our hemoglobin. It helps us, the in our this blood. So iron is again very important for our body. Okay, so this is the RDA for lactating women. If you can see, so we have compared between an adult woman and a pregnant and the lactating. The pink that has been highlighted are the nutrients that we talked about a little early in the previous slide, and in which we have to be actually focusing more. So energy, protein, vitamin E, vitamin C, folate, calcium, iron, zinc, iodine, and this thing, cilium. So these things have been a comparison that we have shown here. So adult woman should have around 2200 kilocalories, whether a pregnant should have a 2500, and a lactating should have more energy during lactating phase, that is 2700 kilocalories. Similarly, for proteins, during pregnancy, we require a lot of protein. And for lactating also, we require little more than pregnancy, because we are secreting milk for the baby, and also we need it for ourselves as well, so that we can gain some energy at that time. Vitamin E also, vitamin C, folate, calcium, iron, zinc, cilium. So these all nutrients have a very crucial role during pregnancy and lactating, of course. So there are certain values that need to be maintained during through their diet or supplement as per doctor advice, and that needs to be taken care of. Why is hydration important? So we discussed when we discussing about the nutrients, so about water, the very first thing that why it is important, it is the breast milk is maximally made up of water, because of course it is a liquid. It helps to keep the baby hydrated. It also keeps helps you yourself also keeps the hydrated. The fluid loss that a mother, the mother's body is secreting should also get replaced by the water. During postpartum, generally women feel very weakness, very lethargy. So water helps to manage at that time also. Certain times there is a UTI kind of an infection sometimes happens, post delivery or something. So hydration is very important at that particular time as well. It doesn't let you gain more weight during your lactation. It helps you in keeping your weight under control. It can be in any form. The hydration is just not about the water. It is about the liquid that you can include. Can be a coconut water, can be lemon water, can be your charge, can be milk, of course, or can be a shake. So such options needs to be taken care. And because as a summer, so hydration is very important to keep yourself little hydrated. A feeding mother at least drinks 4 liters of fluids, out of which water should be 3 liters itself. Many people, when I ask how much water are you drinking in a day, so they say we drink 2 liters of water. And when they share a breakup for it, so they are like we drink tea also, we drink milk also, and then we have sometimes juice or a green tea, so they count all those things as well. So we should never ever count water intake with other liquids. That's completely a different thing. Water cannot or never be replaced by any other liquid. It should never be replaced. So water quantity has to be minimum 3 liters a day. Apart from this, you can definitely increase any of the fluid you wish to. You can take anything which I just mentioned, can be a smoothie, can be a chaach, nimbu pani, coconut water, anything, up to you. Okay, so we talked about the calories, we talked about the numbers that what RD suggests and the difference between the pregnant, the adult, and the lactation. But the number sounds so huge and everything, like 2,700 of kilocalories needs to be taken every day. So how are we going to balance those things? So we're going to give a breakup of it, what all options you can include, and then I'll be telling you what a healthy plate should look like. So if you can see a diagram on the left hand side, it says what to eat when breastfeeding. So these are all the food groups that are mentioned here, in which I'll be telling you the sources. Firstly, starting from eggs. Eggs are of course a good source of vitamin D, good source of protein. Some people exclude egg yolks also sometimes. So one egg yolk is fine to take sometimes, because egg yolks have more proteins than your egg whites. Also, it has good amount of vitamin D, which generally food items lack, which is again very required for a normal human being. So eggs is very important in your diet. Then coming to low fat dairy products, low fat dairy products should be promoted because they has good amount of calcium, good amount of protein, and less amount of salt, less amount of fat. Some people prefer buffalo milk. Buffalo milk should never be drink because that's very heavy to digest. That's very high in fat. Cow milk or a toned milk can be promoted. It should always give it a boil and the fat layer should be removed, and then you can make any of the preparations. And a low fat dairy milk should be added in the diet as it has good amount of calcium. Then liquids, we just talked about the liquids because it helps in your proper milk production and keeps you and your baby hydrated. So as we just said, 3 liters of water needs to be taken. Apart from that, you can take another sort of drinks to increase the hydration. Then of course, lean meats. You can take chicken, you can take fish because it has it is rich in vital nutrients. The lean pieces needs to be taken, can be chicken breast, can be chicken thigh. So these things needs to be taken, and the preparations that we use for such things should be grilled, roasted, baked, steamed, and not very thick buttery gravies or something like that. Then in vegetarian options, we have seasonal fruits. During lactation, during pregnancy, papaya and pineapple is restricted due to the certain enzymes that are available. But during lactation, we can take certain fruits as well. Seasonal fruits should be encouraged because they're rich in antioxidants, they're rich in vitamin C, they're rich in minerals. They're giving you good sugars, natural sugars also. So seasonal fruits needs to be taken. Then we have leafy green vegetables, which are good source of vitamin A, calcium, again antioxidants, all colorful vegetables. Your fruits are full of antioxidants. So seasonal fruits and vegetables should be encouraged, and we should include that in our diet. Coming to whole grains is a full packed thing, a full packed essential nutrient, which is full of proteins, your vitamins, iron, mineral, and it helps you, in your digestion and everything. It is better than the refined flours and refined products. So whole grain products should be included. Then we come to legumes. Legumes are rich source of protein. They have good amount of iron. And of course, because in vegetarian, we have less amount of protein sources. So legume plays a very important role at that time because they're full packed with your proteins. Certain legumes produce gas during the certain produce gases. For example, your rajma, your chola. Certain people are little gastric towards such item, and in lactation phase, generally gas forming happens when you eat such a heavy food item. So this should be used in moderation or very less in quantity. and very mild, very easily digestible food should be eaten, and legumes should be chosen wisely at that particular time. And you should of course observe your body, how is it responding with what food particular item. So now we talked about all the nutrients that we can include in our diet. But this sounds again a lot of much. So if we see the diagram on the right hand side, it says my healthy plate. It has been divided into three parts. The half part of the plate is full of vegetable, full of fruits. 1/4 it is the carbs thing that we can see, that's brown rice, that whole meals, bread, and all such things needs to be taken. And then the 1/4 of the plate is the meat and the others. So 1/4 is your carbs, 1/4 is your proteins, and the half of the plate is your fruits and vegetables. So this should a plate should look like. You can go for 2 chapati, you can go for a bowl of curd and a bowl of dal, along with some lot of vegetables, and some dry vegetable along with it. So this can be an example of a healthy plate. Apart from this, of course, it is not a diet that plays the role. It is also the water intake that we are choosing. So you need to have good amount of water throughout the day. The oils that you're using, that should be minimal and healthier. You should be active enough during your day. Post delivery, you should give yourself a good time span to just get yourself a little settled down, and then gradually you should start getting more active, so that your food can easily be digested and you don't face any problem in your digestion. Then we have eat healthy while breastfeeding. This is a few things that needs to be taken care whenever you're breastfeeding the baby. You should always focus on the small and the frequent meals. And of course, as I said, you should always see how your body is responding to what particular item, so that you can see whether you are able to tolerate few things or you're not, and you can kindly adjust those things as per your body's response, and so that you cannot face any problem, any digestion issue or anything, any problem related to your digestion. Adequate nutrition, we are again telling you to increase the hydration and increase the water intake, because of the sedentary lifestyle, because we are not doing anything, because we're sitting completely basically maximum time of the day, and we are not drinking enough of water. So you should always monitor, focus your water intake, that it should be minimum 3 to 4 liters almost on daily basis. You should accommodate liquids before and after breastfeeding, because that leads to you will get thirsty, you'll get little tired. So liquids needs to be included whenever you're breastfeeding the baby, or whenever you're after breastfeeding the baby, because sometimes you're even very hungry or something, and at that particular time you can even munch more. You can choose either unhealthy option, or you can overeat. So that particular time you can accommodate liquid, so that a portion control can be maintained. Then eat well with emphasis on quality. Always make sure whatever you eat that has been made fresh, that is not kept, made and it has been kept for very longer time, or maybe something that you have made in the morning and then you're eating that in dinner. So such practice should not be done, because the more fresh, the more better, the more qualitative food you'll eat, the better absorption will be able there, and you'll be able to pass that to the baby as well. Introduce fresh produce for ample fiber. Fiber needs for the fiber is actually very required, so that your motions get easily passed. The roughage is very required. So include fresh things, include, for example, some people, you should always go for the curd that is homely made, because that is going to give you good bacteria that will help you in your gut. So it's a good thing to include that. Have timely meals. When we are talking about focus and frequent meals, time plays a very important role. You should always focus on the time what you're eating. You should always focus on the time when you feel the more hungry. And you should always choose a healthier option at that particular time, or make something more fuller, make something more protein rich that can keep you full at that particular time, and you can not choose on any of the healthy option, unhealthy option. So always time your diet, how you need to take care, and what all time you're going to eat. Include healthy light snacks for the midnight snacking. We talked in the beginning that yes, there are certain responsibilities that a breastfeeding mother is getting. because the baby has to be fed in after every particular interval. So it has to be sometimes post, in the late nights also. The mother has to wake up. So that particular time, you should have something very healthy, very light, because obviously you're also disturbed from your sleep. And no, everybody is sleeping at that particular time. Or cooking is a thing that cannot be done every time. So a healthy light snack should be, and a good option can be a bowl of makhana, can be a bowl of sprouts, boiled sprouts, can be, you can just make some puffed rice and make some chart of it or something, and you just keep it beside, and you can just have bit handful after you breastfed the baby, so that you also don't feel hungry and you're a little energized by that particular time. Nutrition requirement increased more the pregnancy now, yes, because now the baby before the baby was growing inside your womb, but now it is going to grow more rapidly. Also, the baby is now into the world, and the baby will be, getting more. The baby has to be given the direct nutrition that is required. Earlier, you were having everything, and the baby was inside. So if there was anything which was not enough or something, so that can be extracted from the mother's body. But now this has to be taken care more, prioritizedly. We need to do this, that the nutritional requirement during breastfeeding should be there, so the proper breast fill, the proper nutrient breast milk can be given to the baby. So during lactation, the nutrition requirement definitely gets increased. When we discussed about the RDs, it was 2200 for an adult, that was 2500 for a pregnant woman, and it was 2700 for the lactating mother. So it was almost about 550 to 600 kilocalorie extra. And of course, increased proteins also going to happen, increased iron, calcium. So there are certain things, certain nutrients that needs to be taken more seriously, needs to be taken more in quantity, so that an adequate nutrition can be provided to the baby. Then we have importance of the balanced diet. We talk about the food plate in the previous slide. So try and having certain type of plate in your diet almost daily, and almost try to have such things, such proper balanced meal, so that you can focus on all food groups. And if you can see the diagram in the slide, that's a triangle made, that's a food pyramid. If we just discuss that, the initially things that we have are fats and the sugars that needs to be taken in the very minimal amount. It is not like that we are not supposed to take fats and sugar at all. We need to take them, but that the quantity has to be moderated. Then coming down, we have the protein sources, that we have milk, we have our meats, we have our eggs. So that needs to be taken care. Increased amount is going to be definitely around about 65 grams of protein needs to be taken, this thing as per the RDA. Coming down, we have this thing, fruits and vegetables, which are exclusive source of all the vitamins and minerals. In a basic day, we should almost have 2 to 3 fruits in a day and 3 to 5 servings of vegetables, so that we can actually fulfill that amount of vitamins in our diet. And coming down, the last are the carbohydrates, which are the huge in number, because that is going to give us the more of the energy that we require. And being an Indian, we have a diet which is more of carbs, so that is a good thing at this particular time. So healthy carbs should be taken, that is the complex carbs, and not the simple carbs, that is the refined flour should not be encouraged. No bakery stuff, no maida stuff. Whole wheat cake products should be encouraged to take at when we have such huge requirement of carbs, so that this helps us in reducing that weight also. Okay, so now we talked about the foods that we are eating that is helping the mother. So now we'll discuss about the foods that will help in boosting up the breast milk supply, that will enhance the quality of the breast milk that is going to be given to the baby. So the term that we have that enhances the breast milk output is the galactoboost. So these are certain items which has a property which enhances the breast milk quality, the breast milk quantity, and it helps in letting that breast milk gets fully nutritious, fully packed. So I'm going to enlist them some. So spices, in which we have garlic, fenugreek seeds, jeera, ajwain, Soft, dry ginger, also called as salt. People say that garlic, onion should be restricted during this phase because it is very, pungy flavor. It will pass on to the milk, or such myths came across. So that's a myth actually. There is nothing that you should be avoiding, especially like garlic. It is a good source of galactose, which is going to help you in enhancing your milk property. Milk and its product. Certain people gets uh, this thing. The people who get cesarean, they also have a myth saying that we have got stitches, so दूध उन्हें पका देगा. So this is a myth again. There is nothing like कि milk is going to, cause any harm to those stitches or something like that. In fact, milk is going to help you increase that breast milk. That will help the baby to get that particular, because that's also fluid, so that breast milk is going to be made up of milk only. So milk has to be taken in good quantity. You can use it in any of the preparations. Certain people cause gastric also from milk. So a dairy product, you can go for curd also, you can go for paneer also. You can make doodh dalia. You can milk, some certain kheer also at your place. It can be ragi kheer, sago kheer, rice kheer. So oatmeals can be made. So there are certain examples to use the dairy products. Then we have proteins. The mild dals should be encouraged and not the whole dals. The split dal should be taken at that particular lactation phase, so that a proper digestion can be there. There is no gas forming that is happening. So masoor dal is a good option. Moong dal is a good option. So all split dals can be taken at this lactation phase. Coming to the non-vegetarian items, fish, liver, chicken, mutton, can be taken, but it has to be, as I said in the previously also, the preparations has to be very lighter side. Can be, soups, can be a mild curries, can be a boiled, grilled, roasted, like that. Fishes has to be on the low mercury side because mercury gets passed through the milk. So you have to choose wisely when you are opting for a fish option. Nuts are a good source of protein, good source of omega-3 fatty acid. So it should be included in your diet. Almonds, walnuts are a good source. So those things needs to be included in a diet. 4 almonds to 1 walnut can be included in a diet on a day. Then fats, ghee and other healthy oils, dry coconut, and there are certain laddus also that has been made, especially in northern I've seen, called गोंद का लड्डू, अजवाइन, मेथी का लड्डू, so panjeeri. So these things are made specially post delivery. This is the season, the lactation phase is actually a season of those laddus and everything that actually enhances your breast milk. Because earlier it was used to make, it has been made in a lot of ghee and everything, which is very difficult to digest also sometimes. So 2 tablespoons of ghee per day is enough. And in which you can of course make your laddus. Lot of fat is not very important because less physical activity is happening, and then it get very difficult sometimes to get rid of it. But excluding fats completely is not a good option. Fats are very important. Ghee is very, very important during your lactation phase. So it needs to be included. The quantity of course has to be moderately used. Then coming to carbs, we have ragi, oats, brown boiled rice, we have sabudana, we have dalia, also called as broken wheat. So these are the sources of the carbs, and we just discussed about the food pyramid in which we had a huge number of carbs. So that needs to be taken in our diet so that a proper energy is being given to the mother, and of course that is also going to help in forming that good enhancing that breast milk. Green leafy veggies, all goats, because it's now summer and we have all ghea, tori, tinda available in the market. So of course it is definitely a yes, as it is in season also. So you should always include such vegetables in your diet, green leafy vegetables. This will help you in, in a proper digestion in your, you will not get any gastric or anything. It will also provide good fiber to your diet. So all these things to be included so that a good breast milk output can be enhanced. Again, very, very important, and like in every time we are discussing about this, so adequate water and liquids needs to be taken care so that a proper hydration is there. At the end, we are secreting a liquid that needs to be formed. So water is very important for a diet. So you should always monitor your water intake, and you should always make sure that you take the 3 to 4 liters of water almost on daily basis. Okay, so we all talked about what to have for the mother, what to have to enhance the breast milk. Now, what to avoid? All the deep fried things, all the refined flour things, all which is available at the street food joints, all the restaurants needs to be avoided during this time, because it is going to be very, very oily. It is going to be very, spicy. It can cause you heartburn. It will be very greasy. It will cause you digestion problem. It can cause you constipation, because of which then you will be uneasy, or you will not be able to eat anything else, and that will of course give a bad impact to the breast milk. So these things needs to be avoided. There are specific food if intolerant from childhood. So of course, if you're allergic to anything, so that thing has to be avoided. Say like if mother has a history of peanut allergy, so those things needs to be avoided definitely. And you should always read the labels whenever you're buying any packaged food if you have any allergy or something, so that you can just go through the ingredients and get to know whether that particular thing is not available in that food item, so that it doesn't causes you any uneasiness or any discomfort. Excessive caffeine. A lot of people have a habit of having the first thing in the morning is the tea, otherwise they'll get the headache. So during lactation phase, caffeine has to be literally avoided. A 2 cup of tea can be taken very, very mildly and should be encouraged if you can avoid for some time. Similarly for coffee as well, because that's also gets secreted in the milk, and that could be harmful for the baby at the initial phase. So those things needs to be avoided. Other food items on baby's response to certain food can eliminate and avoid accordingly. I told this about when we were discussing about the diet related to the mother also. You should always observe how you're responding, how your body is able to tolerate what particular food item. So you should always observe and always take action on it if you feel any discomfort or uneasiness. Similarly, you should be doing it for your babies also. So, because of course, after deliveries now, the pediatricians we are visiting, the mothers visit pediatricians and take follow up. So you should always put up questions if you face any problem, any discomfort, if the baby is any problem or any digestion issue or something you come across, and something exception you have started eating or something. So you should always observe and note and always take an advice by a doctor so that a precaution can be taken. Okay, so now we are talking about, I think during lactation phase, this is the hot topic, which is a weight loss. During lactation, I'll be discussing about when is the right time to weight loss, during the lactation phase, that is after your delivery. So you need to wait at least 5 months minimum. I personally like to wait for at least 6 months so that baby can start with the complementary feeding, and the baby is more dependent on other sort of diet also for its nutritional requirement, and then we can focus for the weight loss. So you should always wait till the baby is not dependent, baby gets dependent on other things also for his nutrition. Then is the right time when you can choose for the weight loss. Breastfeeding without restriction. It helps burn around 400 to 500 calories a day. This is a very true thing. If you are doing breastfeeding without any restriction in your diet or something, it automatically helps you reduce this much a day. If you're doing any particular diet or weight loss or any particular food that you're avoiding, so that will not help you in your weight loss. So you should always, try the diet should be like the healthy plate that we shared. You should always include whatever is in season. You should always see what your body is responding towards that diet, and you should not restrict until unless it is very necessary or causing discomfort. Eat at least 1800 to 1900 kilocalorie. This can be adjusted, of course, individually, depending upon your BMI, depending upon your height or weight. So ideally, this is a 1800 to 1900 kilocalorie per day that should be eaten every day. Keep a target weight loss less than 2 kgs per month. Do not ever give yourself a huge target that I lose 10 kgs this month or something. You're going to deprive yourself with a lot of nutrients. You can have fatigue. Your baby can also get affected by it. So always target yourself with the minimum, the kgs, so that that motivates you, that helps you in reducing that particular amount or in that particular weight, and keeps you motivated every time when you target yourself. Decrease the calorie consumption gradually. Do not fast or feast. I have seen people during fasting also sometimes during pregnancy, but they choose the other options, uh, which is sometimes unhealthy because the preparation they use is the fried, and the fried is one of the preparations that they prefer. So that is another this thing, increase on the calorie. But if you're just having fasting, you're not doing anything, or maybe you are having a lot of food at once, lot of junk at once, so that is also going to give an impact on your calorie consumption. So that will also hamper your weight loss. That can decrease your calorie consumptions gradually. Your calorie, that how much you're reducing, can also get affected by it. Avoid quick fix solutions like liquid diet, fat diets, and celebrity diet. Definitely, it's just the thing that we have listened. We are not into their shoes. We don't know how are they doing things. What all things are they? As in, how is the schedule? Are they actually doing it, or is there actually a rumor, or they are actually doing something else? How is their lifestyle? Because at our homes we are doing our works and everything. So you should always think about yourself, your lifestyle, your pattern of work that you're doing, and you should always modify your diet towards that. Weight loss also should be targeted as per our lifestyle only, as per our feasibility, and not up to the fat diets that we come across like keto diet, or just having fruits or milk for every day. Any celebrity had the very huge weight loss in just 1 month by doing a lot of exercises and everything. So you should always avoid such fixed solutions. This will give you another complication. This will also this can give you another problems as well. Focus on a healthy eating. Postnatal exercise should be encouraged. You can take physiotherapist guidance also for these exercises, because if this is every time everybody is new at this particular phase. So always you should take guidance from an expert before doing anything, whether it is your diet, whether it is the requirement for your BB, or whether it is your exercise. So you should always do things under guidance, so that you don't land up in some problem or any health issue. So you should always focus on healthy eating, proper diet, managing all the nutrients, your carbs, your protein, the nutrients that we discussed, that is very necessary to take. So all things needs to be focused upon. Impact of drastic weight loss during lactation. If you are doing weight loss during lactation, so what are problems that you can face? The firstly, of course, the nutritional and the health status of the mother is going to reduce. It is going to be very difficult for the mother also to produce milk. Then the baby will also suffer due to that. The supply milk will definitely get reduced, and the baby will again land up in a problem because you have to give top feed, and then the proper nutrition is not being given to the baby, and this can have long-term effects also sometimes. Fat soluble environmental contaminants and toxins stored in body fats are released into the milk. So when calorie intake is severely restricted, of course, because you have undergone a huge transition from pregnancy to lactation. So there are certain contaminants or toxins also that are stored into the body fat. When you're not taking proper nutrition, when you're not eating properly, then the breast milk will not be adequate enough, and sometimes those contaminants, toxins can also pass through the that. So when you should always that also should be restricted when calorie intake is very less. Baby's growth is affected, disrupted during critical growth period. When the proper, that's obvious. I mean, when the baby will not get the proper nutrition, the growth will definitely get disrupted. You should never decrease the amount of diet. You should always give yourself time. You should always be patient enough. You should always encourage yourself, motivate yourself, create a stress-free environment. Ask family members to help you out during that phase, and not force yourself with drastic weight loss targets, because that is going to give you a lot of problem, and that baby will also suffer. We are going to talk about some myth busters. We talked few during the session also. So starting from this, giving water instead of colostrum. So this the colostrum is actually very promoted in health setup in amongst the new parents and everybody, because that's very nutrient full for the baby, that needs to be given, that needs not to be thrown away. Some people say that honey should be given just after the delivery. Some give sugar water also, so those things are just not advisable. This can be very harmful for the baby, and that's very just new to the world, and we should not experiment something like that with such a newborn. Always encourage colostrum, that needs to be taken care, that needs to be given to the baby. Then we have cold and hot foods that needs to be avoided during lactation. Some people don't give fruits at all because say it is has a cold nature. We discussed about vitamin C also. We discussed about we have khatta cheese that is not to be given, like dahi. So there is no scientific evidence. It is not going to give baby any cold, any flu. You should always eat fresh. You should always eat whatever is in season, and that is never ever going to give any harm to the baby. Nutmeg spice mixed with drops of breast milk. This is another myth, because you should not do anything with the breast milk. Breast milk is itself very sufficient enough for the baby, and including nutmeg or spice drop will be very very harmful for the baby in swallowing. Can because that is going to be very difficult for the digestion also at all amongst all of a sudden. Some people prefer to give some other milk, like cow milk, donkey milk, goat's milk. See, I agree that sometimes it happens that the milk is not sufficient enough by quantity wise when a baby is fed. At that time, you should always seek a doctor's guidance that what should be given, and not give anything else, like thinking about yourself, or just you have heard anywhere, or anything experimenting like cows or goats milk. You should always completely avoid any other milk till 1 year. You should never give any other milk to the baby, because the animal protein can cause allergy, intestinal lining damage. You never know what construction, what protein structure that particular milk has. So the reality has to be, faced by the experts. So you should always seek information from the experts, with the doctors, with the pediatrician, before introducing any such thing to your baby. Gripe water. Some people also give gripe water to the baby just after the delivery. You should always check with your pediatrician regarding the colic. Medication should not be given, without any consultation. Home remedies on your own should not be done. You should always seek guidance whenever you are doing anything. Just because you've Googled it, you have read it somewhere, somebody have guidance you, or anybody from your family has said that we have also tried or something. So you should never go on such things. You should always take guidance from your own doctor and move ahead as per their suggestion. I told you about the honey for the babies. It is just not advised. Eating enough ghee will strengthen mommy's joints. This is also a myth. This is not going to help, getting good amount of, strengthen your joints. You should have that much of, I told you about 2 spoons of ghee per day. You can have that much is enough during lactation, because that is going to help you in enhancing your milk property. But that has nothing to do with the joint pains, or it is going to strengthen the joints. So that is also a myth. While consuming heat food speeden my recovery. See, whenever you eat food, you might feel something different every time, but this is a myth. There is nothing related to the recovery if you have heat food. Certain people say that you should eat a lot of good, a lot of jaggery, lot of ajwain, lot of jeera. So this is not going to speeden your recovery. If you're having a lot of ajwain in your diet, that can cause you lot of because at the end of the day, that the nature of the food is very hot, so that can also cause you bleeding, can cause you some contractions. So you should always focus on the quantity, always seek the advice that how much quantity should be taken. You can take a teaspoon of ajwain on daily basis, in like ajwain water, that is a diluted form. So such things you can include in this thing in your diet, but just relying on ajwain completely or some hot food like that, it is not going to help you in recovering. Inclusion of caffeine. Caffeine should not be included, I told you, because it will get passed through the milk. So you should not include caffeine in your diet. You should either avoid it, or maximally it should be avoided, or just 2 cups a day is fine to take. Must eat only bland food while breastfeeding. No, it is a myth. There is nothing that you just have to eat a bland food. Yes, you have to eat food which is naturally spiced and not anything which causes you heartburn and which causes you acidity, gastric, adding dry spices or something. No, you should always monitor the quantity of the spices firstly. Then you should not be very oily, and a homely, freshly made home food is very good for the mother, and that is enough. You are not supposed to eat any bland food to enhance your breastfeeding. Okay, so you can send in your questions in the question answer window. And for the personalized diet plan, you can book a video consultation slot at our nutrition with our nutritionist today on our It's Our Baby app, and we'll be very happy to give you consultation and take follow-ups, of course. So that's all for today. This is the link for the upcoming sessions. You can check out the chat window to register, and you can of course come up again, because we are having such sessions. We have a lot of sessions like this, so you can obviously gain some knowledge by attending such sessions. Before we end, your questions will be answered. We will be online for another 30 minutes to answer your queries. A session guide will be shared on your SMS shortly, who have registered. Feedback will help us serve you better. So would really recommend if you can just pen down some queries or some feedback on the chat box. Would really like to listen. And as we at Cloud9, we maintain all the necessary protocols and everything that can keep our hospital infection free and safe. Thank you so very much. We will be answering few questions that has been shared by some of you from YouTube. So it says, how much milk should we take in a day? See, 2 glasses of milk is okay to take in a day. It can be 1 glass of milk, and you can take one, either a curd or a bowl. That is about 250 ml of milk per day can be taken. Then we have another viewer who asked us a question. That's Priyam Patel. So that's the same question. How much milk should be taken? So that's 250 ml of milk in a day. Thank you so much.